Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the channel. This has been overall just such a crazy morning that I have woken up to. I don't know. That's just how life goes now. You wake up, you check your phone. Some mornings it's like, what's going on in the world? The other mornings it's like, oh my God. Today was one of those oh my God days. Southgate, Mr. Sir Southgate, Gareth Southgate has been sacked. I'm a little bit surprised. I thought he was going to be able to keep his job. I haven't really read too much into it, so I don't know if he was fully sacked. I don't know what the FA said, if he just resigned. I haven't really read into this, so we're recording this pretty raw today in terms of we don't really know what's going on. Let me know what you guys think of it. First of all, the decision. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk a little bit about it and give my final thoughts. But you probably already know my final thoughts. If you are a fan of the English national team, listen, if you're a hate watcher, this is terrible, right? Because England have probably overall with France, year on year, the most talent in the world. And really, to be honest, you just could watch England and see that it wasn't being managed well. The problem with England's squad is a lot of the problem in a lot of teams, right? I even think if we look at Portugal's team this year, I even think if we look at Germany's team this year with Havertz, there's just a lot of politics in football in terms of who's getting starts and not. But I felt like at England, it was out of control. We saw multiple games where Harry Kane and Foden were just so below average of what they should be doing, and they just kept their spot in the lineup. And we saw so many games where players like Watkins and Palmer would come into the game and save them. And look, it was just too little too late in this final. I will say the one thing I will commend Southgate for after watching, I've watched Southgate for a long time now, and I remember a lot from the last Euro. I remember a lot from the World Cup. The one thing I will say to Southgate that I do appreciate is that I felt like as we got later on in this tournament, he really had no choice and started to actually make some earlier changes. Like it was shocking to me to watch the final and see that Southgate was actually taking off Kane as early as he did, which means he's listening and he sees it and he gets it. But again, overall, it was disappointing because what you want is a manager that's going to make those decisions, right? No matter what, they know what's best for the team. And I felt like at the end of the day, Southgate, the style that he's playing is really outdated. The style that Southgate wants to play is a style that was dropped even over 10 years ago. I mean, it's this slow defensive buildup. It's this the keeper Jordan Pickford is going to boot the ball out to the other goalkeeper. It's just not something that's played these days. The teams that are most successful these days build out of the back, um, a lot of wing play. And the one thing I'll say this with this team, it can work with Kane. Like people will say, is Kane cursed and all this, right? The problem with what they did with Kane was that they played. Kane doesn't work when they play like Foden and Jude under Kane. Kane needs wingers out wide to go forward, not wing backs that are gonna have to defend, right? For him to be successful. We see how far Kane drops into the team. He has no outlet, right? So what Kane ends up doing, and this is the most frustrating thing, it comes down to England's formation and tactics under Southgate. He tries to go through and start dribbling people. Kane is probably the slowest player in the England 11, but at the end of the day, he doesn't have that outpass that we've seen Kane with so many assists over time at Bayern and specifically Spurs, right? Where Sonny's making that crazy run as he drops in, or vice versa at Bayern, right? Where we see Coman and these fast wide players making in behind runs. They didn't really have that. Even Saka, who I think was one of England's best players, in this tournament, was just not a guy that was really bombing forward all the time. A couple runs from the diagonal from the fullback, but for the most part, he was cooking people kind of on the edge of the box after that slow build-up. Anyways, it's not about the England team. So Southgate, the official word is that after 102 games in charge, he is done. He said, as a proud Englishman, it has been the honor of my life to play for England and to manage England. It has meant everything to me, and I've given it my all. But it's time for change and for a new chapter. Sunday's final in Berlin against Spain was my final game as an England manager. I joined the FA in 2011, determined to improve English football. In that time, including 8 years as England's men's manager, I've been supported by some brilliant people who have my heartfelt thanks. I could not have anyone better alongside me than Steve Holland. I've had the privilege of leading a large group of players in 102 games. Every one of them has been proud to wear the 3 lions on their shirt, and they have a credit to their country in so many ways. The squad we took to Germany is full of exciting young talent, and they can win a trophy we all dream of. I'm so proud of them, and I hope we get behind the players. My special thanks. We have the best fans in the world, and their support has meant the world to me. I'm an England fan, and I always will be. You know what? I'll say this, guys. I'll say this right now. Southgate to me seems like a very gracious man, and the reason I will say that is that he could have gotten an apology. He could have said, nothing to the fans, right? So the U.S. manager got sacked, and he didn't say anything to the fans. He just said, hey, thanks to the Federation for supporting me. He knew the fans hated him. And a lot of people didn't like Southgate, but I will say this. I respect him because he's come out and he said, thank you to the fans. Thank you for staying behind me. Thank you for just supporting the team. Even though people weren't behind him, supporting the team. One thing I was looking for, and I didn't read this yet, was he going to go here and say, oh, we went to the Euro final back-to-back years? Because, look, a lot of managers on their way out, if they felt hard done, and look, let's be honest, if you or me were managing the football team of England and we got to back-to-back Euro finals, if we didn't win, it's okay, right? It happens, right? But we would probably feel hard done that, hey, we took our team to back-to-back Euro finals and we're getting sacked, right? So looks like he's kind of handing in his resignation, which, I don't know. Is this one of those where he's been sacked? He's been told, we're going to sack you, but we like you, so please hand in your resignation, which happens a lot of times in jobs and everything. I'll say this. What he has said here, bro, it's nice to see this. There's no flex about what they done. He just wants England to be successful going forward. And look, I'm optimistic for the future of England. The squad they have, I feel like if they can get the football style down right, if they can get a manager who's going to come in, all right, and play positive football. Because the end all with Southgate is that the football he played was too negative. Too negative. And the one thing I will say about this complete style is that you can't win that consistently playing this way. The way Spain plays this year, they're the first team that won every single game in the Euro group stage knockout, right? Every game they won. Domination. So many attacks, so much flow to their attacking style that eventually the amount of chances they create, they're going to punish you. And it's this consistency they were able to build. The problem with England was that I felt like in this tournament, England got so lucky to be where they were in the final. I really believe this too, right? The early on, the wonder goal from Jude Bellingham, the wonder goal, like a bike. And then Harry Kane on a triple deflection, right? So they could have easily lost that game if there was one less added minute. And they could have lost the game in penalties. Now, I favor England in penalties, right? We'll go to the next round. Switzerland probably created 2 to 3 times the chances England created in that game. It took a moment of brilliance. Again, right? Go through, win in penalties. They have better pen takers. Akanji is taking the first pen for Switzerland. That's kind of when we knew it was probably all over. So they win that game. Then they go against the Dutch. I actually thought they played well against the Dutch. I don't think it was a good game for the Dutch. So they had one good game, and then they get to the final. And look, they get to the final, and this was the most confusing thing under Southgate. And I'm like, this is where the players, tactically, Southgate is responsible. They play a slow first half, right? Early hit in the second half, they go down. They literally, Palmer Watkins come in early. Palmer scores a great goal. They drop the bus. They park it. They start playing negative again. They had the whole stadium, like, watching the TV. The whole stadium was jumping up and down, going crazy. It's coming home, right? Everyone's going nuts. Park the bus. They literally lower the depth, everything, sit back. After they're 1-1, they have the whole stadium going crazy. They have momentum, and they let the possession gods of Spain just go crazy on them again. So that's where I was like, man, that's just terrible tactics. That's terrible coaching. So I think, look, there's people that will defend him and say, he got us to back-to-back Euro finals. I've seen it on Twitter. People saying he's underappreciated, all this, all that. It's okay to feel that way for your manager. I get it. For your country, I can't speak much. I'm a fan of the U.S. I'm a fan of Germany as well. Both teams didn't do anything this year, especially the U.S. got grouped. But at the end of the day, he's got one of the most talented squads in world football. Guys, before this tournament, Harry Kane, Jude Bellingham, and Foden were in the top 5 for Ballon d'Or contenders. I'm not joking. You can look at any website. It will tell you that. Right? This guy has one of the most talented squads in world football. Probably, if at this tournament, the most expensive transfer market value squad. Not that it means anything, but what it does mean is that, look, any of us, I think, would have done close to as good as Southgate had done. Because if you look at overall, it wasn't the goals coming from that pretty Spain or Germany style in this tournament. It was the goals coming from individual moments of brilliance. Saka saving them. Jude saving them, right? These insane goals. That Ollie Watkins goal. Oh, my goodness. How can Ollie Watkins score that goal and you sit there and seriously watch this entirety of the tournament with this guy backing Kane because they're best friends and say, how the hell is Ollie Watkins not playing? One play, 10 minutes that game, he done more than Kane the whole tournament. So it's time for him to go. It's good that he's leaving because The future of England is hopefully going to be bright. It's about who's going to be next for them. That's obviously the huge question mark. And yeah, I mean, look, you could look at it and say overall with Southgate, played 102 games, fourth at the 2018 World Cup, runners up at Euro 2020, quarterfinal of 2022, runners up at Euro 2024, 161, drew 24, lost 17. Whatever you want to look into all of this, right? The fact of the matter is, yes, he may rank in terms of the England managers overall, all time, not in a bad way, right? In terms of getting them to finals compared to the previous managers. But what you have to understand is that the manager of Southgate, he has been so blessed to have one of the greatest English teams of all time. So that's why I'm not going to sit here and say, look, we should appreciate him. He's underappreciated. I'm not going to sit here and say that. I think he's genuinely got one of the craziest squads, and I don't feel like he is the difference between me or you at home being able to manage this squad the way England went and how they did in this tournament. The final thing is this. I saw this. This is the worst thing I've seen on Twitter today. If this guy goes and manages the U.S., I'm going to lose it. I just had Southgate's cousin manage the U.S. The way the U.S. was playing. Oh, my goodness. This guy with the U.S., we don't even have the defense to play this way. All right? Don't let Southgate manage the U.S. I'm seeing Fox tweeting out odds that Southgate is the number 2 most likely manager to manage the U.S. I'm going to cry. That better not happen. I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry. If this actually goes through, I'm going to boycott U.S. football. I'm not going to watch. I'm not going to watch because I just watched England all tournament, and I want my time back. I want all my time back. I feel like I wasted life watching them until the end. I mean, at the end, they started playing better, but oh my goodness. I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it because the end all and what Southgate, in my opinion, not to be harsh, will be remembered for is that this is the guy that cannot get you over the finish line to win a trophy. Nope. So that's what you need as a manager. You need somebody that's going to go get you that silverware, go get you that hardware, and get you that trophy. Let me know what you guys think about it. What do you think? Was it the right decision? Was it the wrong decision? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace.